What's going on, guys? It's the Bearded One back with another beer review. And we're doing an IPA from Trim Tab. This is part of their Light Visions collection. I've already reviewed their Wide World, and I should be doing Cloud Architecture and Gardens of Fire sometime in the future. I have singles of those beers in my fridge. It's just a collection of exotic small batch IPAs from the brewery, and most of the beers are now sold out. So I don't know if they're coming back. I've made it my mission to try every single one of them. I don't know if I ever will. I pray that this is. I pray this is something that Trim Tab kind of does periodically, like re-releases some of these beers. But we'll have to see. If you don't mind, I'd like to read the back of the can because they always have something interesting to say on the back of these cans. I'd also like to mention this is Southern Sphere out of the Light Vision collection. This is their double dry hopped hazy double IPA. It's a lot to say. Alright, so they have quotes and poems and things on the sides of their cans sometimes. So here's what the side of this one says. I'm utterly convinced that we are all here for one another and that every experience that everyone is having is relevant. It all counts. The universe is so extraordinarily well designed that it needs all those experiences. Buckminster Fuller. So they used Wakatu, Pacifica, and Nelson Sauvin hops. I love the exotic hop choices. At least for me, they're exotic. I've never heard of these beers before. Excuse me, I've never heard of these hops before. I did read up on the website a little bit about their about the beer, anyways. That on the malt bill they use Pilsner malt, so there might be a little bit of carbonation going on in here. They use, as they say, as many fluffed flaked oats as possible, and I learned that flaked oats can give a creaminess and a fuller mouthfeel. And then they use a touch of lactose for that, that ideal mouthfeel, as they put it, for the style of New England IPA. And then the rest I've already told you. If I had to say what my favorite IPA style would be, I would have to go with New England. I'm not so big on grapefruit that you can sometimes get in New England, but I do like tropical citrusy stuff like mango and pineapple flavors. So hopefully that's what these hops will give off. And then, to add on top of that, Trim Tab is one of my favorite breweries anyways, and they specialize in IPAs. So hopefully this is a good beer. Yeah, definitely can't see through it. Definitely hazy and murky. Gets a little clearer at the bottom. It almost has a different shade here at the bottom than on the top. It's definitely darker and a more deeper gold here at the top. Doesn't look like orange juice like some New England IPAs can look. It looks more pale than orange juice. It looks more like pineapple juice to me. But definitely a strong gold color, for sure. Little more pale than the shade of my shirt, anyways. Head retention's okay. It definitely dissipated. It's just a thin, loosely congregation of bubbles, if you will. A lot of light, small bubbles. Yeah, this thing's kind of active. I'm definitely getting some bubbles going on in here. Do I get any sediment? Yeah, there's a little bit of sediment in here. Um, Kind of expected that with it being a New England IPA. Oh, this is a pleasant nose. It's very pineapple-y for me, anyways. I will say I don't like to read the taster's notes, and dagnabbit, I read the taster's notes, and you're supposed to get a great Sauvignon aroma, and I get it, and the reason why I hate reading these taster's notes is I'm not sure if I would have picked up on great Sauvignon if I had not read that. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of citrus, maybe some pale malt, just a tad subtle crackery malt backbone. Um, and then I do feel like I'm getting like a Sauvignon grape thing going on. Not that I know what a Sauvignon grape is, but I just feel like I'm getting that grapiness in the beer. So let's get into the moment we've all been waiting for. So, I don't like to do this anymore now that I know the damage hops can take over time. And I'm pretty sure this has been sitting on the singles rack in one of my favorite beer stores for a while. And so the hop presence is thoroughly subdued for this being a double dry hopped hazy double IPA. I would thoroughly expect this to be, I don't want to say bitter, but I feel like I should be getting like resin and earthy flavors and other strong, bold hop component, qualities that would come in something that's dry hopped and a double. Definitely pineapple-y, citrusy. I get a little bit of a spice note in here. No, that was something else. I don't know what that was. Um, I get a creamy, almost milky mouthfeel from this thing. It's definitely smooth and easy drinking. This thing don't drink like it's 7.5, so it's not the biggest beer in the world, but it don't drink like 7.5 at all. I don't even detect alcohol in here. Lots of citrus. There is, again, that grapey Sauvignon undertone. I like how the mouthfeel and the grape undertone really complement each other. it's just like a creamy grape thing at the end, and it's a really wet finish for sure. Not a lot of drying going on here. And for those of you who don't know, now I don't want to act like an expert on this. I've never homebrewed. Um, I just happen to know that a dry hopped beer means that it's post boil. So if you're using a 3 vessel system, you're gonna have your mash where your grains are, and the water is trying to strip the grains of the fermentable sugars, which will then go into the boil kettle, and you will heat that mash tun up. And the boil, you'll bring it up, I don't know, the beers vary, but you'll bring it up at least 160 plus, just depending on the style. I don't want to act like an expert, having never homebrewed before. And then that's where in a non-dry hopped beer, you would put your hops in. And then if you were going to dry hop the beer, you would then put it, I would assume, into the fermenter. And you would put hops in there. I believe that's what a lot of people do. They put hops into the fermenter. And I'm not sure how you filter all that out, or if you even want to filter it out, because there's some sediment floating around here, which tells me they didn't overly filter the thing with it. But with it being a New England IPA, I wouldn't expect that. I'm not. I don't know how this beer tastes fresh. So if you're kind of curious about, I'll say this: if you're kind of curious about IPA, you're drinking your balanced beers, your Boston lagers, or I don't know, just balanced stuff with a decent hop presence. And you're kind of curious about IPA, maybe you should try New England IPA, like the base New England IPA. I feel like that's really sweet and can have something to offer for you. But a double hopped double IPA, I can't recommend for somebody that's kind of curious about IPA. But I think you hazy people, the hazy crowd will love this. I don't know. IPA just kind of varies now with how creative people are getting, and I think people that prefer West Coast IPAs or something really dank and bitter probably wouldn't enjoy this. So I don't want to just say IPA people. I really think it just kind of fits within like the hazy crowd. Anyways, I like this beer as it is out of the can. It's very tasty. It's very sweet. I like the creamy mouthfeel. I like how the citrus and the grape play on each other. And I had a burp come up for a second, and it tasted straight like pineapple, as gross as that probably is to hear. So I do like the beer out of the can, but because I know it's been aged, and with it being a double IPA, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of what this beer has to offer, which unfortunately means I'm going to have to buy this beer again. That's just, what a travesty. I'm going to have to drink this great beer again, and fresher, to get the full experience. That's just so hard. The things I do for YouTube and my hobby. Um, but yeah, I feel like I'm missing. Um, I feel like I'm missing the entire experience. I feel like this could definitely be an excellent beer. I just don't know if I like IPA enough to give it to sense that it could be a world class. But it's just everything so subdued with the age of the hops. I know it's been on that shelf for a while, and I'm trying not to do that with IPA anymore because I want to get an IPA the way the brewer intended it to be. But with this being in the Light Visions collection and it being small batch and rare from one of my favorite breweries, just felt I had to make the purchase. But still, even with the age, still a good beer. I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Just being a really solid, good beer for what it is out of the can. Again, I think this could be an excellent beer, possibly bordering on world class, if I were to have it fresh. Because I've had the Citrus Singularity as well, which was a different style of New England IPA from them out of their Light Visions collection, and it was pretty dang good. That'll be it for me, guys. Southern Sphere Trim Tap Brewing, 3.5 out of 5. Till next time, guys. Cheers.